Yes, we have one public comment, and that's Morgan Chudwitten.
Hi, Morgan Chegwitten, Interim Director of Neighborhood and Family Services. I promised to get y'all some stats on the August performance for animal services regarding bite investigations, so I have that for y'all today. There were 13 bite investigations, 8 were animal to person, and 5 were animal to animal. 2 of the 8 were, the dog was in its, I guess 3 of the 8, the dog was secured in its own property, bit somebody on property, and then one of them was we got a notification from the hospital. The victim didn't want to participate in a bite event, so we don't know exactly what happened. We had to close out the case, victim uncooperative, and then the remainder were dogs had escaped. The owner was right behind it, and they did ultimately wind up owner surrendering the dogs for euthanasia. But that is that breakdown of those 13 bite investigations from August.
So there were, just briefly then, there was dog-human interaction was
8 of the 13.
of 8. And were any of those the owner or immediate family?
That the dog bit?
Yeah.
Yes, so 3 of those dog was on site and bit a person who was also on site. I didn't make note of that detail of was it the owner, was it a visitor, but the dog was in its home, on its property, and bit somebody on its property. Like the dog wasn't at large and biting.
Okay. I know we've had this, in the recent months, we've had a lot of conversation about public safety. And I would like to see that breakdown continue if we could in our presentation.
I've got it for September when we get to that item.
Okay, thank you.
No more public comment.
No more public comment. Item 3, consent agenda. Consider approving the September 18th, 2025 Animal Shelter Advisory Committee regular meeting minutes. Everyone in favor of I get a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll motion to
Okay.
approve the minutes.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Regular agenda. Item 4, presentation of monthly shelter performance for September 2025. Presentation made by Animal Services Manager Amanda Weddle or Weedle? Weddle?
Yes.
By Amanda Weddle.
So for the month of September, we had 326 new arrivals, 138 adoptions or transfers, 32 redeemed by owner, 22 live releases, 103 deceased, 315 were left in custody at the end of the month, and the live release rate was 65.08%. Of those deceased, we had 54 dogs, 45 cats, and 4 others. They were broken down by 23 aggressive, 52 sick or injured, and 28 capacity. Field services calls, we had 493 field services calls, 265 were stray response, 98 were enforcement or rechecks, 96 were wildlife, 18 were bite investigations, 9 were transports, and 7 were owner release or seized intake.
What was the beginning number and what was the ending number?
I do not have the beginning number of September, but left in custody were 315 at the end of the month.
Okay. When I started, I didn't say anything because I was trying to see how things were going, trying to get in the swing. But these numbers, they don't ever, like the beginning balance, doesn't carry over. They just start at a random number. They've never equaled. Sometimes they're 30 off, sometimes they're on they're 1, 2, 24, 16, it's for about a year. And do y'all pick up that number to start with?
So what I can do, I cannot tell you what has previously been done because I was not here, but moving forward, what I can do is an inventory at the beginning and comparative with what we have come in and show the difference.
Because if you start with the last month, the ending balance,
Yes, I
and then you
can,
do that net, it doesn't equal what is left in the shelter, or left in custody.
okay, I'll look into it.
Okay, thank you.
Moving on to item B, present update. of
Chairperson
cit-
Horton, we have public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Okay. And the first one will be Juliana Evans.
Just talking about the data, the statistics. I don't know if I'm allowed to give you this, but this is a spreadsheet for the last year of the previous month's tally at the shelter, the total intake, the total outcome, and then the on-site. Do you want it? It's taken from the ASAC items every month.
I'm more than welcome to take it and review it. Thank you. It's coming back.
So not being the best mathematician in the world, I've relied on a spreadsheet to do the data calculations. Many months the numbers are off by 1 or 2 animals, and I can understand how that would just be an anomaly. But when we get to 16 animals unaccounted for, end of October 2024, and we get to things like July 2025, there's a 31 animal discrepancy. Even on the figures for today, at the end of August 25, we had 289 on site, an intake of 326, which made a total of 615. We had 295 outgoing for September, and ASAC numbers state 315, but the maths doesn't add up. It's actually 320 left in the shelter at the end of September. So I know I'm not allowed to ask a question, but my comment is I think that bears looking at because it's consistently incorrect. Thank you.
Okay, Heather Hegwood.
Hi, Heather Hagwood, single member in District 2. Can you, on the 98 enforcement and rechecks, were those citations? Or what? Or can you, in the future, break down the citations issued?
I am in talks with courts as far as what I can break down for
Right.
citations and things of that nature, but
Right.
it is something that we are still looking into.
Okay, the number of citations, and then breeder permit numbers?
So breeder permit numbers, there was a shift in how it was handled.
Right.
And so it is going to be starting basically fresh.
Right.
Moving forward.
Because I know they're heading
But as far as how many we have, I will have to get with the IT department and see if it sends me a report each month.
Okay, and then on the 265 stray responses, how many of those were actually taken in? Was that,
So no, it doesn't break it down of when they do impound versus unable to locate or unable to impound.
okay. Is that a future possibility?
I can look into it.
It'll
Okay.
be, if you go back to that slide on intake, so
Yeah,
there's
should
265
be.
stray response, that's the cases, but the amount of stray intake, oh, I apologize, I thought it was on this screen, but the vast majority of the 326 new
So it would
arrivals.
be-
But we have
yeah.
that breakdown for intake if we wanted to.
Okay, and then, this is just a question I know you all don't have to answer, but how are the 315 animals at the shelter?
The animals that are currently at the shelter, they're doing well.
No,
They're
I mean, how are there 315 if we don't house that many?
315 animals total.
Right.
That is a realistic number.
But that includes all species, so that'll be cat, dog,
Cats.
livestock, and off-site quarantine.
Okay.
And the neonatal kittens and puppies that don't count
Right.
towards capacity.
Yeah, puppy-
So
oh,
there's
yeah.
not more than 180 dogs, but there are 315 animals in our custody. 315 left in custody.
Okay.
It's all species.
Okay, that was it.
Okay, and we have one more, Morgan Chegwin.
Of the 18 bite investigations, 15 were animal to person, only 3 were animal to animal. And of course, those animal to person are governed by state law, so they get additional scrutiny and follow-up. And I don't have the same level of detail of how many were off-site, how many were in their home, but this is a great decrease. Getting down to 18 bite investigations when we used to carry 40 to 60 every month is a big decrease in 2025.
That concludes public comment for this item.
All right, moving on to regular agenda item B, present update of city-operated animal adoption program, presentation made by Animal Services Manager Amanda Wadle.
All right, so we launched our adoption program on October 1st. The goal was to reduce the numbers of unaltered animals within the city limits, provide increased avenues for adoption of homeless animals, as well as reduce euthanasia of adoptable animals by increasing adoption probability. This started on October 1st. We now have a process in which you come in, you sign in, and you meet with our our outcome coordinator. She kind of gets a feel for what you're looking for, what your home life is like, to best match you with the animal. She then will bring the animal to a room that you can meet the animal with a meet and greet. If you feel like it is meeting the requirements of your family and it's going to be a good fit, then she'll work with you on filling out the contract, and we set up a vet appointment with our vendor vets. We then, on the day of surgery, transport the animal to the vet, and the adopter picks it up after the surgery is concluded. So the day of the appointment, we're going to set up the appointment ahead of time, and we're going to send the vet the information as far as their A number, their adopter's information. We are going to microchip the animal, and we're going to relocate it to a designated area within the shelter or mark it as adopted on its kennel. The day of the surgery, we're going to transport it. Our vendor veterinarians, we've got one that is approved, one that is in the process, and third rescued that is also helping us with various spay neuters. Once the surgery is complete, the adopter gets a call from the vet telling them what time they can pick up, and they pick up from the vet. So far, we have not had any road bumps on this process. The owners are picking up with no issues, and we have not been getting any reports from the vet of having to go and pick up an animal left there. So future enhancements, as of the last city council meeting, some of these were not yet implemented. However, we have implemented the leptospirosis vaccine because our vendor vet has mentioned to us that it is now considered a core vaccine, that she does require it, so we have preemptively gotten them in-house to vaccinate for that. We are also heartworm testing adult dogs to ensure that we are not giving an animal to a person who is not prepared to face a lengthy treatment with a high-stressed animal and a high-stress new environment. We are also parvo testing puppies under 4 months of age, just as a precaution because we are a shelter and we have pathogens and stray animals that come in all the time. We are future looking at feline leukemia and FIV testing for cats to make sure that we do not put any positive cats in negative households. So we did go to City Council on the 7th and request fees. At that time, we only had fees for livestock and small pets, and we wanted to set up a fee schedule to ensure that we had proper thought process of people purchasing animals through adoption, and make sure that we are able to recoup partial costs of the surgeries so that we can continue the program. City Council did approve that dogs would be adopted for 150, cats 90, and kittens 120. We also started our rescue protocol. Every rescue that is interested in pulling from us, they are filling out an application. We then have a transfer form for each animal leaving for accountability. We also have pre-approved representatives for the rescues on their application for who is authorized to pull for them. We also, if we have any chargeable animal welfare violations for that rescue, they would be declined as a rescue able to pull. Since October 1st, we've had 20 dogs adopted, 5 cats adopted, an emu adopted, and also 25 dogs have been transferred through PAWS, and 8 cats were transferred through Critter Shack. Also note, we had 1 cat transferred through PAWS yesterday. So for half of the month, we are doing fairly well, in my opinion, as far as starting from scratch. We also did do a walk to rehome program in which people that were previously volunteers through other organizations coming and walking dogs, they can still continue to walk dogs as long as they sign our waiver, and use our gear as far as leashes, treats, for consistency. We do 18 or older, but this gives the animal a chance to gain confidence, social skills, and it puts a second set of eyes on the animal to ensure that if there's a health issue or behavioral issue, we can further evaluate. These animals are fully vaccinated animals as far as the distemper and bordetella. They do not get their rabies until they're adopted, but we do not allow puppies to go through this walking program. We are looking at, eventually looking at expansion of hours for operation, not just for adoptions, but for field services as well. That will not be started until after the first of the year, but we are looking at how we do that for staffing as well as for productivity. We are looking at a volunteer program being developed. We currently don't have any timetable on that or a foster program being developed.
I have a couple of questions related to that. On whoever's, I'm assuming that you're taking on the role of adoption coordinator, and you have staff member that you employ for that too.
So actually, we do have a designated outcome coordinator. Her name is Aga, and she is handling the interviews with the potential adopter as well as with foster. I am her ancillary to back her up, but she has previous experience with that through rescues, and so we wanted to utilize that strong trait, and at the same time, it gives us a chance, because of the other responsibilities I have, for someone else to also handle the primary on that. She's been doing great on it. In addition to that, I am her ancillary backup, and I do set up the vet appointments.
And she's paid staff, correct?
Yes.
All right, very good. Is there a vetting protocol established for any potential adopters?
So anytime that a animal is adopted, it is getting microchipped immediately, post paperwork signed and payment collected. It is getting its lepto vaccine. It is getting any remaining distemper boosters if it's a puppy. And then it is also, if we have a time before the appointment with the vet clinic, our vet that comes in once a week is doing the rabies vaccination on it. If not, then when it goes in for surgery, it gets its rabies vaccine.
I was thinking of the individual doing the adopting.
Like vetting the person.
Yeah, vetting the person.
So we have to be, With municipality, we cannot do any type of application like rescues would do. So we don't do home visits or anything of that nature. I will tell you through her conversations with them, she is hitting the red flags. We had one that came in and he was asking some not normal questions, and she was able to deter him. On ones that we felt that the animal was not a good fit for them, we told them why and explained to them about behavior and counseled them on that, and were able to shift them to an animal that better suited them. So as far as home visits or lease checks or anything like that, no.
I'll go to the baseline on why I asked the question. Is it has to do with everything from the financial responsibility of the potential adopter because of the costs in having a pet of any kind nowadays, and it gets as ugly as bait dogs.
That is actually part of the reason for the fees being what it is. Most people are not going to pay $150 for a bait dog. They're looking for your free dogs, your dogs that you don't have to put much effort into. And putting your driver's license on file, registering with the microchip, and paying $150 is a good deterrent for that, as far as a quick decision of that nature.
Okay, very good. And who is our internal, we have an internal vet now?
Dr. Schulze, he has agreed, he rescinded his resignation and he is signing a new contract with us. He is coming once a week, and he works very closely with me through text each day, has been quick on response, and is in agreement with protocols that I'm putting into place, as well as giving me hints on where we can beef things up.
Very good. And in the new contract, will he be able to provide any kind of services?
In what particular services are you?
Whatever a veterinarian could do in a building full of animals.
So with his contract, he is not offering any type of low-cost spay or neuter. If we do have to have one for a medical purpose, like a pyometra or a prolapse, it will be at full cost, but he has said he will work with us on that. Any type of medical care for upper respiratory, diarrhea, any type of ailments of that nature, he is quick on the draw to give us a diagnosis and treatment plan.
Oh, very good. That's what I was actually looking for, because previous to that, it was more of a consulting.
No, he is coming once a week. We walk the kennels together, and any that my staff have highlighted ahead of time, I have them listed, as well as we look at any others that catch either of our attention. And like I said, throughout the day, I even contacted him today. We have a sheep that is having an upper respiratory problem, and he gave me, I asked him what I could give. He told me the dose, and we're starting the protocol on that.
Okay, very good.
I have a question. Can you remind me, did the dog walking program start already, or is it planning to start?
No, it
Like
has
the volunteer-
started. We have
okay.
people coming multiple times a week.
Okay.
It's usually a group of friends that come, and so 3 or 4 people will come at a time, and they each get a dog. They each go out and walk them. They watch what their behavior is acting like, so they can report it back to us, because it helps us with getting the animals put on social media and things like that, where we can say that they're calm outside versus what they respond to with the overstimulation in the kennels.
Cool. Where do they actually walk them?
I'm sorry?
Where do they actually walk them?
On the shelter property around the building.
I did have a question before. You were talking about things that you were going to be implementing pretty soon. On the volunteer aspect of it, of gaining volunteers, is that where possibly somebody at a desk, people want to come in and they want to look at the animals for a possible adoption, and they just kind of sit there and guide people where to go? Okay, you need to talk to this person, you need to talk to that person, here's the form you need to fill out, so that those hours can be extended into Saturday and Sunday when people are off and they're looking for puppies to adopt or dogs to adopt?
So I'm looking at multiple different aspects. I want a solidified program. It's not going to be reinventing the wheel. There are many shelters that have a very good system. I see a lot of positive feedback with volunteer programs in which there are primarily there walking the dogs, socializing the dogs, doing basic training with the dogs, things of that nature. As far as doing the administrative side, I have seen success where they walk with them as far as the initial meet and greet, but we would still want a staff member handling the final determination.
Oh, sure, yeah, and I agree, the final determination, but just because you've got so many volunteers working with the animals, it's where the volunteers going to be working with the public and getting the word out there and helping just make these dogs and cats and all animals more available.
And that is why there's no timeline right now on the volunteer program, because I want to fully develop it and I don't have
Okay.
all those answers right now.
All right, great, thank you.
When they sit down and talk to them, can the adopter still, can they go and look at the dogs? Or
Yes.
they just have to wait for the one that's brought to them?
No,
Okay,
no, if
can
they
go
say
look
we
at it.
just want to look, they still sign in.
okay.
I'm a true believer and high believer about knowing who's in your building,
Yeah.
because if anything happens, and it also gives us quantitative data to track why they're there and what the foot traffic is. So they sign in, and if they say they're just looking, kennels are that way, cats are right here. If you have any questions, let us know. We can get you set up with our outcome coordinator so that she can make sure you're meeting your needs.
Okay.
I just want to make a last comment on this. I would find it helpful if it could be something that we talk about monthly, about where you're at, what your thoughts are about this adoption program and where things are kind of going and what are the new things that are being implemented or thought about, getting these dogs and cats and animals.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That's one of the things that I am trying to, also, we're trying to do a once-a-week posting of successful adoptions so that the public can see.
Yeah,
And that we are also making sure to thank our local rescues that are pulling, because I believe in recognition, and we're all working on the same goal.
yeah, and thank you.
On the vaccinations, it said future, but you'd already approved some of them. Are those just the ones that are outgoing, or is that on intake? Like the rabies or the distemper is what I think, because we've had several distemper outbreaks at our shelter.
Distemper and Bordetella are automatic on intake. So when they are taking the picture, creating the animal in the system, that is automatically given. If they're puppies, we do set them up for the booster regiment. It's not just a one and done for the puppies. And then the lepto is upon adoption. And then the rabies is either upon adoption if Dr. Schulze is there, or at the surgery appointment.
Yeah, since the vet has to do it, okay.
And we are additionally doing heartworm tests, like I said, for the adult dogs upon adoption.
Okay. Okay. And then on the next question I had is on the rescues. Is there a charge since they're doing their own vetting? Do they have to pay for anything when they?
No, they are not being charged.
As long as they're signed up and, okay.
The biggest thing is if they're taking on the responsibility of the medical side, it's still an animal out of our shelter, and we know that it's going to get fixed because they are a reputable rescue. And so we are not charging them any type of transfer fee or adoption fee.
Okay. And what about if the rescues are transferring to a state that doesn't have spay neuter requirements? Are we looking at that, or are we enforcing that, or are we doing any follow-up to the rescues? Because some of these transports have been, I feel, have gone to questionable.
So we are not
Other rescues.
regulating their dispositions. If they are taking on the animal as their property, that is between them and their board. That is where the chargeable animal welfare violations come into play. That is the only thing that we were able to see that we would be effectively able to regulate.
Okay, but they do still have to show that they've spayed or neutered the animal, regardless of where it's going?
Correct.
Okay, okay. One more.
Any other questions for Amanda?
Let me look.
Did you say you did?
No, that was all. I was just looking through there to see if I had any more. That's it for me.
Okay.
Chairperson Horton, we do have 2 public comments. Signed up for public comment. We have 2 signed up for public comment on this item.
Oh, we do have we're signed up for that? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Are you ready to take those? Or do you have questions?
No, is there any public comment on Amanda's presentation?
There is, and are you ready for them, or do you have more questions?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No.
Okay, the first one's Juliana Evans.
It wasn't a question I had previously or a comment, but I'm just wondering if someone wants to adopt a dog and they're approved and it's all a happy thing, but then the dog tests positive for heartworm, is the adopter then given the choice as to whether to take on that care, or is the dog withdrawn from availability and euthanized? What happens with a heartworm positive?
They are given the option.
That's great. I think you mentioned before that you were looking at accountability of rescues pulling from the shelter, and if they had any, I don't remember what term you used, but if they had any chargeable offending or things. And I just wanted to make a comment that whilst many of the shelter dogs are pulled by Concho Valley Paws, it is interesting to note that they transfer, as they are doing or have done this month, out of USA to a rescue that has multiple high dollar lawsuits against them, and who are considered such an appalling rescue that they are not allowed to pull from the 4 municipal shelters in Toronto. And I don't expect anyone to take my word on that, but each member of council, city manager and the mayor has documentation which includes a transcription of a conversation, a meeting with the head of animal control in Toronto, confirming those details. So our shelter is transferring dogs to Concho Valley Paws, which is theoretically good, but then Concho Valley Paws continues to transfer those dogs out of the USA to a rescue that has multiple high-volume lawsuits and who is considered so bad by the Toronto authorities that they are not allowed to pull from their local rescues and from the local shelters, and the shelters are full. So it's not like they're like, you can't have a dog because we haven't got many. They've got plenty of dogs, but they are absolutely not allowed to take dogs. And I wonder, I understand that's a hard question for the city of San Angelo, because once the dogs go from the shelter to Concho Valley Paws, if there's no violation with Paws, then one could reasonably argue, well, they've got the dog, it's in their custody, but ethically, is that a good thing to continue? And if any of you would like the documentation regarding that, I'm very happy to provide it, but you'll find that all the councillors, the mayor and the city manager have a vast amount of documentation regarding that. But if you would like it, I'm happy to provide it. I just wanted to make a comment so that you were all aware that it exists, so you can plan in the future. Thank you.
Okay, one more, Heather Hegwood.
Again, Heather Hegwood, single member District 2. In following up with Juliana's, there was a border collie that I think Paws took. But when I called the shelter, I was told that somebody had adopted the dog. Nobody had adopted the dog. It went over to Paws. They wouldn't relinquish it because it was already promised to go to Canada. And I had a home for it. People wanted it. And it was declined because the dog was promised to be shipped to Canada. And then going back separate issue. What did you say? Tell me what you said about the not screening adopters? Or can you go back to that?
Excuse me, but it's inappropriate for you to ask questions during your commentary. If you
Okay,
if you
well,
want to make a public comment.
No, well, I wanted the clarification on what was said because I didn't hear all of it on screening adopters in the new program,
Okay.
just like a while ago when we pulled up the screen. And it was just a clarification because I couldn't hear it.
So can I answer?
Go ahead.
Okay.
So when we're talking about what type of parameters we can do on screening the person themselves, there's not a whole lot that we can do as a municipal shelter. Rescues can put their own parameters, but the biggest thing for municipalities is they have to be unbiased and a clear path. Home checks and things of that nature are not common practice and not standards of practice with municipalities.
Are they able to?
No,
Or
ma'am.
they're not able to?
No,
I know
ma'am.
it's not- I know it's not common, maybe not common practice, but they're not able to.
No, it
Okay.
is not. A lot of the things that rescues do
Right.
are things that, as a municipal agency, we can't ask for that information without proper warrants and things of that nature.
Okay. All right, that's what I didn't hear the whole thing. Okay, all right.
Any more comment?
That concludes public comment.
Okay. Moving on to item 5, follow-up on administrative issues. Does anyone have anything to put on a future agenda or they want to discuss today?
If the city council doesn't have it on their agenda, do we know anything about the shelter, the revisions, the updates, the construction?
I can put something together for the next meeting. We actually just resumed conversations about that this morning, and so I want to be able to give y'all accurate and descriptive information, but I can give y'all an update at the next meeting.
Okay. And if you wait another month, that's fine, because I know you're still trying to coordinate so much. But want some sort of update in the next month or two.
Additionally, I will probably be putting on the agenda either next meeting or the following ordinance updates that I am working with legal to clarify on getting more modern and more decisive.
All right, very good. Is there any discussion about licensing fees or changes in those fees?
There has been discussion about the effectiveness of licensing and registration, and it is probably going to be interwoven in the ordinance revisions. I am of the opinion that city registrations are double dipping and not as productive as microchip mandates, because microchips do not fall off the animal. They may migrate, but they're not going to fall off as readily. And so keeping the mandatory microchipping, but not the city registration tag, is more than likely what I'm going to be looking at on the ordinance revisions.
Okay.
We had also talked a little bit after the meeting, I asked a question about do we know how many spay-neuter violations of tickets have been written and the follow-up on that? You had just started like a day or two before. But
So-
if we have that, like with the shelter numbers,
I can do something on the next meeting. We actually just had a meeting with municipal court yesterday, and they gave us some numbers, not as much dispositions as I would hope. But we do have kind of a background of what's been enforced and what we've turned in that I can prepare for the next meeting.
okay, all right, sounds good.
Are there any other follow-up or administrative issues? If not, then I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll motion to adjourn.
All in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, folks.